So I wanted to give you some tips for writing effective Google Ads copy based on what I've learned over many years of running ads for clients in tons of different industries. For this example, we're going to use a local service-based business, tree services. So if you were to go look for tree services in Phoenix, you'd see some ads showing up at the top. And in here, we can see some ad copy. We're going to kind of analyze what they've done here, as well as show you how to actually write effective Google Ads copy, show you some tips and tricks and some strategies, really from like a high level standpoint. That way that you have the tools you need to actually come in, write some good copy, and start getting some clicks on your ads and getting some conversions. So when we're looking at these, I'm seeing one thing initially here. So Angie is like a huge directory, right? And their ad copy is talking more about their platform. So it's like, hey, come choose from a whole bunch of professionals. So that one's going to be kind of different than most of these, but this looks like kind of a smaller company, maybe a local company in Phoenix. And we can see that there's this really interesting thing happening here where it's taking part of the keyword that we searched and it's actually bolding it in the ad copy here. So you'll notice that this one's it's tree removal here. So these are like synonyms: tree service, tree removal. Google Ads is essentially seeing those as, or Google is essentially seeing those as synonyms. And that's actually really effective and important to note, because effective Google ad copy, in my experience, doesn't necessarily have to be some, magical wizardry that you come up with from having years and years and years and years of experience in marketing. I mean, that can certainly help, and it can definitely take things to the next level if you've kind of hit a plateau. But for most business owners, it's actually going to be more about understanding the structure of how Google Ads copy works, so that you know what to do and where to do it, and that will ultimately give you the highest chances of success. So let's dive into it a little bit here. We were kind of looking at this example. I think the easiest thing to do is transition over to looking at how you would actually create Google Ads copy. I would never really actually recommend doing it in your Google Ads account initially. Instead, what I always do and what I teach my team to do is to create the ad copy in a document first. So that way it's just a little bit easier if you're not having to deal with the complexities of Google Ads. You can just focus on one thing, and that's getting the ad copy set up and ready to go, right? So I like to use a spreadsheet personally, and I just use a couple of different columns here. So I'll list out the different keywords that we're trying to target with the ads. And then I'll have 3 different columns for headlines, and then a column for descriptions. And the reason I do it this way is because these keywords actually need to appear in different places throughout the content. You'll notice that all of these keywords are appearing in this first headline here. And then you'll also notice that the term Phoenix is appearing in each of these headlines. So if it's a local business, you want to try to use a combination of the location and the keywords that you're trying to get clicks for, and kind of combine those together to make a list of initial headlines. And sometimes I'll even pin these to the #1 position in Google Ads, which is not really important, but more to just illustrate that if the first thing someone sees in your ads is one of these headlines, they're going to know that they're finding the right type of company because they just searched for like tree service in Phoenix, right? So like in this example, tree service in Phoenix, it's actually showing tree removal, tree service. It's like highlighting these terms, and then you'll see it says tree service. This one says tree removal, which is a synonym. And so it's showing ads up at the very top that actually have the keywords in the ad. It's pretty simple, right? But that one distinction can make a huge impact on the productivity and the results that you get from your Google Ads. Because if your ads don't mention your keyword at all, then when somebody does a search and sees your ad, it's not going to look very relevant to what they're searching for. Whereas if your ad says the exact same thing they just put in the search bar, then it's almost like, how could it not be a good result? Right? That's kind of what you're trying to do here is when somebody goes to Google and puts a term in and they see your ad, they go, oh, this looks relevant to what I'm looking for. This is exactly what I need. And then they click on it, right? So it would only make sense that if they search for tree service in Phoenix, we're going to be talking about tree service in Phoenix in one of the first headlines, tree service in Phoenix AZ. So here we have it. And then there's variations of that term, so like tree removal. These are all synonyms, more or less, tree trimming, stump removal. And so we're peppering those throughout the descriptions such that we have an opportunity for those terms to be bolded. And this also is going to give us a higher relevance score because your keyword is showing up, is listed in your ad campaign, so it's causing your ad to fire, right? Somebody does a search for this keyword, your ad shows up, and then that keyword is shown in your ad copy. If it's also shown on the landing page, then it'll look very congruent. You'll get a high click-through rate. Google will essentially see that as a ad that performs well, and Google's really concerned about user experience at the end of the day. They want people to keep coming back and using their platform, just like any other platform out there online today. And so part of the way they do that is by giving people an amazing user experience. Like, that's why everybody loves Google. When you do a search, it gives you amazingly accurate results. And part of how they figured out how to do that is by making sure that your ad actually contains some of these keywords that people are searching for in the text in the ad, right? And so we'll want to make sure that those keywords are showing up in this first headline. We also try to pepper them throughout the actual descriptions. So you'll see tree services, you'll also see Phoenix, Arizona. And then on top of the keyword side of things, you can kind of mix in some other elements that are not keyword specific that will help get, better performance. Things like calls to actions. So get a quote today, book a consultation, reach out, schedule a call, like any sort of call to the user to take action is going to help increase the performance of your ads. And so you'll notice those are also added at the end of some of these descriptions too, like call now, book now. There's only so much space that you're allowed to use when you're setting up your ads, right? And it's also good to try to maximize that space. So I typically wouldn't use a description that's only this long, right? I'm going to try to use as much of the given space. It's like 90 characters. I'm going to try to use as many of the 90 characters as I possibly can for these descriptions here. And pretty much the same goes for these headlines. Like, you don't want to leave these with one word in them or two words in them. If possible, you want to try to be maximizing the space you have to use here. And you can see, look at this headline. Average cost of tree removal. Just start with your zip code. This one's #1 tree service company in AZ. Top tree removal service in AZ. They're like trying to use every single character possible to create these ads, it looks like. And that's for a good reason, because if everything looks blank, it's probably not going to show up, and it's not going to get clicks, and it's not going to perform well. And then on top of those calls to action, you can also use some clarifiers, really just helping people understand what separates you from everybody else, and also helping people understand what the benefit is of working with you, right? So we take care of your trees, we serve the whole area that you live in, most likely, if you're looking at this ad. It's affordable. We have quick, friendly professionals who will help you out. This sort of stuff. The stuff that makes people feel good about working with a company, right? And if you start to combine all that stuff together, you can come up with your ad copy where you'll have, I can see it's counting down here, there's 11 headlines. You can use up to 15 in a responsive search ad, which are the new format of Google Ads, at least for search ads. And then there's 4 descriptions here, which is how many you can put into an ad. So this would essentially allow us to add in another 4 headlines later down the road if we wanted to, which is kind of helpful to have that space. And then we can max out the number of descriptions that are possible to use. And essentially we've just created one responsive search ad that can go after all these different terms here, has all of the keywords in the right places, and calls to action, and really everything that's needed on a basic level. I mean, we're just talking basics here. There's all sorts of advanced stuff that we could dive off into. But I think for most people, just sort of having this framework of how this stuff works and why you're doing what you're doing when you're setting up ad copy is just super helpful. So I hope you did find this helpful. If there is anything that you did have questions about in terms of how to write effective Google Ads copy, don't hesitate to reach out. You can just drop your questions in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get back to them there.
Look, if you're the type of person that just doesn't even want to deal with Google Ads anymore, then you can always reach out to me. My company is Missoula SEO Geek. I'll leave a link to my website down below, but we do manage Google Ads for different companies in different industries, and you can come learn about what we do, what makes us unique. You can even read some of the testimonials from some businesses that we've taken from 0 to over $1 million in revenue, like this one here. And really just see that, this is the type of thing that's going to explode your business growth. So feel free to reach out. You can always give us a call or contact us through our website, and look forward to working with you.